Judiciary Committee, Mr. Goodlatte of Virginia, for his opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it would have been wise and a good thing if the President had acknowledged the will of the voters in the elections last month and allowed time for the new Congress, the new House, and the new Senate to work on immigration reform. But instead, the President has chosen his own version of brinksmanship. In fact, he has gone over the brink in what is one of the most massive constitutional power grabs that I have seen any president undertake in American history. And this causes the House and the new Senate to focus on restraining the President and protecting the constitutional authority under Article 1 of the Congress to write immigration laws. Now, as we see the ramifications of this, one of those is the subject of the hearing that we have here today. Already, even before the President's unconstitutional action, based upon his earlier unconstitutional actions, we've seen a surge at the border. And based on numerous reports, it is apparent that word has passed through the grapevine back to Central America that women, children, and families who infiltrate the border are released into our communities. The only way to deter and stop the flow into the United States is to change such expectations by implementing consequences. Through one executive action after another, the Obama administration has sent a signal to unlawful immigrants that once they get here, they can remain here in violation of the law without consequence. When the former head of ICE under the Obama administration, John Sandwig, says, "If you are a run-of-the-mill immigrant here illegally, your odds of getting deported are close to zero," news of that reality travels by word of mouth at the speed of sound. Prospective unlawful immigrants jump at the opportunity. The President just reiterated this message with his recent announcement of an unconstitutional executive legalization for millions of unlawful aliens. Indeed, on November 20, 2014, President Obama announced one of the biggest constitutional power grabs ever by a president. He has declared unilaterally that, by his own estimation, more than 4 million unlawful immigrants will be free from the legal consequences of their lawless actions. Not only that, he will in addition bestow upon them gifts such as work authorization and other immigration benefits. This despite the fact that President Obama has stated over 20 times in the past that he doesn't have the constitutional power to take such steps on his own. Additionally, the remaining illegal population, even if encountered by law enforcement, will likely never be removed due to President Obama's rewrite of his administration's own so-called immigration enforcement priorities. Steps needed to reduce the surge at the border, changes in the administration's permissive approach to immigration enforcement simply are not being taken. An unaccompanied alien minor is a child who has no lawful immigration status in the United States, has not attained 18 years of age, and with respect to whom there is no parent or legal guardian in the United States, or no parent or legal guardian in the United States available to provide care and physical custody. When these minors are apprehended, by law, they are placed into the custody of the Office of Refugee Resettlement within the Department of Health and Human Services. The Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act requires all federal agencies to transfer these children to HHS within 72 hours of identification. Housing the unlawful migrants costs American taxpayers $252 per child per day, and children remain in HHS custody for an average length of stay of 67 days. The unaccompanied minors are often brought across the border by smugglers who are paid by the children's parents who are already in the U.S. illegally. Once in HHS custody, they are most often subsequently reunited with a parent or legal guardian pursuant to Department of Homeland Security policy and regulation. Oftentimes, the person they are reunited with is the same person who paid to smuggle the minor here in the first place. Numerous jurisdictions are receiving a massive influx of unaccompanied minors as they are transferred to HHS facilities and then released and reunited with families or guardians. the impact has been felt in nearly every single state, with the highest number of placements in Texas, California, New York, Virginia, and Maryland. Indeed, HHS had planned to house UAMs at a recently closed college in Virginia. St. Paul's College in Lawrenceville was being eyed to house 500 unaccompanied alien minors, mostly from Central America, who were apprehended at the U.S.-Mexico border. A contract signed on June 12 would have given St. Paul's College, which closed last year amid financial difficulties and accreditation issues, $160,000 a month for the next 5 months. It was not until Friday, June 13, that the local government received an email notification after hours from the federal government that a contract had been signed and implementation had started. It was further stated that it was a done deal and that HHS would start delivering minors on Thursday, June 19. But the done deal unraveled after local residents expressed outrage over the plan. Across the country, the new population of minors has caused a drain on public education, health care, welfare, emergency management, and other public services. To make matters worse, there appears to be no real notification process from HHS to notify the communities in which these minors are being sent. Unfortunately, President Obama's self-made border crisis has created many negative consequences for our country, and the states have arguably been impacted the most by the administration's disastrous policies. As tens of thousands of unaccompanied children and teenagers from Central America have flooded our borders, the Obama administration has refused to take the steps necessary to return them home quickly and safely. It instead has placed these minors in all 50 states while their cases work their way through the system. Because there is no procedure in place to notify state governments when these children are dropped off, states have been forced to pick up the pieces and clean up the Obama administration's mess. At the very least, in order to be adequately prepared to deal with this population, communities must be notified with regard to who will arrive. Today we will hear from local officials who have dealt with this problem firsthand, and also hear from several members of Congress who have introduced legislation to address this pressing issue. I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and yield back.